sure we can hear everybody properly. Miss Cold Flow, how you feeling this morning?
I feel great. I feel great trying to just not even trying.
Not
Gosh,
even
a
trying.
stupid word.
Trying? Not
I'm
trying.
feeling wonderful, experiencing this new day.
Yeah, yeah. We hear. Rizz talk in the morning. This is right here on Rizz Radio. Make sure you download the app Rizz Radio. Shout out to Asia Cobbs, the founder of the movement behind the platform that is, it's global. It's an independent platform. So make sure you check out Rizz Radio. Shout out to Asia Cobbs on that. And then we're also, if you want to see the visual, if you really want to tap in and see our aura just flowing through and everything on that end, you can go over to Miss Andrea Cole's her Facebook. I don't think it's on. Is it on your Honor Your Presence Facebook or just your?
It is actually on Andrea Cole. So
Okay,
the personal. Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. So yeah, go to her Facebook. You'll see it live streaming there, and then also you'll see it on my YouTube, the Poetically streaming live, and we're also on Playback TV for all the communities out here so they can get these messages, especially on this Wellness Wednesday. Riz Talk in the morning. If you wonder what the Riz is, it's about the charm, the attraction, the light that you're speaking with yourself, and it starts with yourself each and every morning. And that's why we have segments like this where Miss Cole Flo and myself, we get into talking with you being a Reiki practitioner, a health just a savant of all things mental health, and continue to learn that. Yeah, I'm putting extra sauce over there. So they know it's well seasoned. This person is well seasoned as they come to the microphone, they come to the camera every week to bring us insight and just more wisdom to this wellness. So thank you for being here, the founder and CEO of Honor Your Presence, LPLLC. Yes, she is here.
Give
She
thanks. Thank
Woo!
you. Yep. I give
Sound
thanks.
effects.
That's
The
your
sound
sound
effects.
effects.
Yeah. The sound effects will be soon. You'll hear the applause.
Oh, soon. Yeah, no. I already
Soon.
heard the applause. I thought it was wonderful. I
Not,
appreciate
not
that.
the applause. You don't have to do that. You have to do that. See, you starting off already. You starting off already.
Oh, what a day. What a beautiful Wednesday. I cannot believe it's already April.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out these weather flows and these exchanges because it was
Nah.
just hot and now it's cold. I'm like, I still have my heater over
Yeah.
here now because it's cold. What's happening, Lee?
Yeah, no. The cold weather, it definitely makes you sometimes want to stay in a little bit longer because if you got the if it's so you bundled up the covers and then you got to get going
Yeah,
because
and
you don't want to leave it.
that's right. That's right. And that's what we're here for. We're here to get going. We're here to align. We're here to
Yeah,
flow. All the things. Because it's
yeah.
new. Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we've been having some great conversation over the past few weeks. If you haven't, you can always tune back again. Of course, Andrea Cole, her Facebook has the lives that you can go on and go on there and actually support it, like it, share it with somebody on your Facebook group. That's just a better way for it to be accessible. If somebody that doesn't have YouTube app downloaded, but then they can listen on there and watch some of the previous episodes that we've been talking about just different things of when it comes to mental health, right? And when it comes to therapy, and are these facets of ourselves healing? Is it evolving? Is it something we're trapping ourselves in? And one thing I wanted to ask you, starting off this Wellness Wednesday, because you do so well with just being able to kind of see life in these different dimensions that we're in, right? So when you talk to people, how in the presence of social media today, right? How are you seeing that sometimes in your sessions be some of the root behind emotional triggers? Uh Sometimes people feeling their value in life, right? How often are you seeing that kind of be the root of some conversations versus just being a real thing, but it sometimes stems from social media?
Well, social media has shown up in a couple of spaces as themes, I would say, in session. Um, on the one hand, it's the theme of um, I have to look a certain way. I'm about to pop out. I did it on the socials. I had to
Yeah.
show out like this because I had to show him this, right?
Okay.
That's primarily like the presentation when we still have pain, right? The showing yourself, proving yourself has been the whole thing for social media. And it's really interesting because that theme is really outside of social media itself, right? Social media is just a tool, but we then
Yeah.
utilize it to show that we have to prove ourselves, prove our love,
Yeah.
prove our intellect. I mean, I would say even with social media too. Before I kind of actually, I'll take a pause because I do
Okay.
get back to that point. The proof, the showing of self, right? That's the first
Mhm.
part. The second part I see for social media is kind of in the space of um, just the escape, just the
Mm.
escape, just the escape, and really the escape and comparison, the themes that constantly come up with social media.
Yeah.
Escaping, scrolling mindlessly, but then, also comparing lives, especially now. I still use Facebook. That's why this is streaming on Facebook, and they say Facebook's for the old heads. Okay, and guess what? I'm old at this point, and that's fine. That's fine if that's what you want to classify it as. Actually, though, it's actually a very, very powerful network. I guess that's what someone would say. It's a little flavored and seasoned. But I say that to say that Facebook specifically, you're able to see the life
Yeah.
people around you. And so that comparison has been so huge, especially
Yeah.
in session where, people are seeing kids in relationships and they're like, well, I'm constantly dating to be able to post, to
Yeah.
be able
Yeah.
to have that relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now you talked about, so with that, the comparison life and the proof of life, right? Of what we're doing in hearing these, right? Hearing certain moments that happen. What do you notice as ends up as pain in the body? Being in Reiki, you know, being a Reiki practitioner. Have you noticed where these pains can be in the body when we're trying to, prove ourselves? Is that been something that you've studied to see, like, where this pain may show up more? Does it show up anywhere, especially more? Because sometimes in the body there are specific signs for certain pain points of what it could mean.
For sure, for sure. Specifically in two spaces, I would say any throat problems.
Mm,
So coughs, literal pain, tightness. Think about your lymph nodes, the
mm,
tightness here. Um, I would say this space, and I would also say in like the chest cavity, right? So think about it's not just the front chest, but it's like the back. So if you're so tight up here and not noticing it, the tension, thinking about the pain and the body experiences is really up in this area. Why? Because in this space, we're not sharing our truth and communicating and expressing our truth clearly. Truth only being what makes sense and what feels right, right?
mhm.
We are not aligned because we are then trying to prove something,
Come on.
right? Our existence is enough. So you will feel certain things, especially like the tension here. Like if you touch here and it's not like malleable and soft, like what it feels like to be tense. Like your body always goes back to the authority of self. If it's not that, that means that space potentially, specifically, is really out of balance. Additionally, that chest cavity, the heart space, I find so many people having to prove their love. Why? Because
Mm,
of the trauma that they have experienced in their life.
yeah.
Proving the love. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to earn anything. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to show up in certain ways to have love. So if you are doing this and it's out of balance and you're showing up and providing this love, care, attention, effort in spaces that don't deserve it, your body will feel that. Y'all, we are perfect machines.
Yeah.
We, we heal ourselves, if we get a cut, we'll the everything happens, the processing happens. We constantly breathe so we can be here. We're not even cognizant of it. We have so many tools. So I would say the body parts I would like instantly think about and that I've seen in my sessions, the throat space and the heart space when it comes to not when it comes to that comparison, when it comes to not being able to stand in authority and speak truth, really.
Right.
That
It
pain.
makes a lot of sense, really being in the heart space, really being able to speak your truth and things of that nature. How let me ask you, if someone want to play a little game when it comes to speaking your truth, I want to see how much truth should we really speak. So it was a great transition. And this is going to be called post or pause. Do. This is when like the fancy like graphics come up, music behind it, all the stuff happening right now. Yeah.
Yes, I see it.
Yes, you see, just wait. The production is coming soon. I'm walking you through the vision right now. Do, 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 do. Woo. All right. So post or pause. This is post equals saying, you would say that publicly. You'll post this. It's very healthy for us. Or pause. We feel it, but still working through it. Maybe not post it just yet.
Okay,
All
understood.
right.
Thank you for the clarity.
I think. Oh, I think the clarity was needed, right?
You're such a great job poetically.
Thank you. Right here, Rizz Talk in the morning. All right, starting off. I don't owe everyone access to me just because I've grown. Post or pause.
I don't owe everyone access.
Access to me just because I've grown. You don't have access to me. Sometimes not everybody makes it. Some people get cut off. Is it worth posting that? Was it worth posting when the people have to get cut off in your life, or is it worth proving to yourself? Is it worth speaking your truth about the people that need to get cut off in your life, or do you just pause it? That's an explanation of said post.
Understood. I would recommend the pause. I'd recommend the pause. I would
Oh no, not Coach Andrea stopping you from being great online.
say, wow. Clip that up, folks. No, I would encourage the pause because what are you showing? We're talking about proof again. Like, you don't have to show yourself. You can express yourself and communicate via two things: your words and your behaviors. Sometimes words aren't needed. Why would you even be posting that? Why would you not just enter into the space? Unless you want to share this and have this person that you're cutting off know about it, well, directly message them. Is my 2 cents on it. That's particularly for me. And I also move with intention, integrity, but I also will say I move in mystery too. So my relationship with social media is also something that's in flux as well. So I have to constantly be intentional about what it is I'm posting and why I'm posting. So that's what I would offer. I would say pause. What about you?
Uh, well, the questions are more towards you, not really about what I think. You're the star here. You
I
are the star
salute you.
today. It's not
Absolutely.
about what I think.
Yeah, okay. Understood. Listen, let's get it. I'm ready.
All right, here's the next
Mhm.
post or pause.
Yes.
Just because I'm spiritual doesn't mean I won't block you. As should it be posted or should it be paused? Is it worth saying?
I feel like all of them are going to be not worth saying.
You think so? Oh, no.
Okay, okay.
These are very real posts.
Yes. Yes. And everybody has their reason for posting, right? I'm spiritual, but that doesn't mean I won't block you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I would say post it. Go for it. I was
Miss
I would
Cold
say go
Flow.
for it. I would say go for it. Um Well, honestly, see, and that's the thing. I take that back. I say pause. Because
Yeah.
block them. Because what are we talking about? What? It's so much talk here. There's so much talk here. Give me something that I would actually want to post. That's what I want to see. Like, no, there's so much talk. Walk the walk. Block them.
All right. All right. So pause, and be action in life. All right. Hmm. How I want to do this? I wrote something down. Which one do I want to do next?
Mm.
Social media makes me question my progress sometimes. A post about how social media makes me question who I am and what I'm doing in my progress in life.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
I think it's a fair post. I think it's a fair post because, that's speaking from truth, right? That's speaking from truth. Uh, I also feel light with that post because it's not also like a definite, a finite type of post. You know how we use the words like always and never and that type of thing. It's like sometimes, sometimes it's social media. I feel like it's stunting my progress. There's that part, and there's just a part of like it's a real thing. I think honestly, y'all, I'm
Yeah.
be real. I'm be real. I feel
Talk to us. About to
I
come out.
no, I just feel like we really don't give ourselves enough credit to just sit and listen to ourselves. We really don't. And I think now that I think when you habitually look at a system for so long,
Mm,
you morph with the system. You morph with the system. So now you're actively feeding into this thing that you're trying to get fed from. And it's like you
mm,
have the perfect system already. So it's not about, hey, don't ever look at social media ever. Don't use it for your business and
yeah.
personal and it is the what are you using it for? And what is it serving you?
Yeah.
Is it really providing insight? And that's from a perspective of lived experience where I can sit and I would just look. I would just look and I would scroll and hours pass by. That story happens everywhere.
Yeah.
But then it's also like even from a business perspective, you can feel inspired on the one hand and you can feel jealous on the other hand. That has been a thing. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to do it in this way. I have to do it and it's like hop
Yeah.
off, hop off. Whenever you feel like you need to do something in a certain way, they say post 3 times a day. They say do this for do that. And no, no. Just like you don't have to go to that job, just like you don't have to do certain things in your life, but you have foundational principles like capitalism is foundational. You have to survive. There are multiple ways to do it. Why not ask the expert of your life how to do the thing that you want to do? That's you. You're the expert of your life, right? So, I say that and not in criticism or judgment. I say that in call to action because
Wow.
I'm talking to me. It's not about just the share. Y'all, we are all reflections of each other in one way or the other. We're all here in this land of lessons for a specific reason. So talk to yourself, right? See what social media, see how this tool has developed
Mm,
and
that's
see how you're gonna flow. How you're gonna flow with it. Mm-hmm.
That's real. That's real. So you said some big things, and yeah, even playing this back and forth game, post to pause, it's still the essential of what you're even talking about, the foundation of how you're checking in with self, because you can say whatever you need to say, but what is that representing? What's the intention behind it? Where are you in everything that we're saying? And that's the whole point of this, is be able to say, okay, yeah, we live in a world, of course, freedom of speech, all these different things, but what impact is that doing in the algorithm world? What impact is that doing in the other atmosphere of, you know, what the world needs to know versus what do you know with self first?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know?
I will say too, if we were going to talk about things specifically to pause on when it comes to social media,
Uh-huh.
pause on the lies, pause on the deception, pause on the exaggeration. I have been privy to things that, especially in the more recent days, where wellness professionals will talk out of their butt and not be factual about what it is that they're experiencing or what it is that they're sharing. I only know that because I've been around the environment. I say that to say, reminder, just a reminder, you are the authority of your life. As the more authority you give this device, the more it's going to take, and that's what you create, this reality. So if you're looking and you're saying, hey, every wellness professional, like the words that come out of their mouth are true, factual, and valid, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Everyone, we're talking about these finite words again, but when you subscribe yourself habitually, that's what ends up happening. You start becoming absorbed and morphed into this experience. So really take a pause to really, I would say, step away from the device so you can feel yourself, because social media is set up that anybody can be the professional, right?
Yeah.
So when you see it and when you start feeling it and feeding it, and then you start desensitizing from yourself, your intuition, this first eye center that focuses on intuition, imagination, and self-trust, it
Yeah.
gets depleted.
Yeah.
Because why? You're zapping yourself, going to bed looking at it, waking up looking at it. You're zapping yourself of your natural machine that we were talking about, that perfection that has the antennas to tell you, oh, this person is saying this wellness professional saying this, and it doesn't even feel right.
Yeah.
But that it can be so convincing. They can be the ra-ta-ta. They can show you all the things that you want to hear, and then be like, this is bad.
Yeah.
Ah, I guess it is bad. We're not doing that here anymore. We can't.
Jesus.
We
How do
can't.
you what would you say is your process of having discernment of who you is good to actually gain a gauge on social media when it comes to, even in all professions and all industries, of somebody obviously giving insight, being an influence of information? How do you get a good gauge of, okay, this person is somebody to trust versus this somebody is just somebody that's wants to do it for the views?
And you know, understanding that everything that's shown on the screen for a reason, to confirm something, to test something, to everything happens very intentionally. So I would say for me, I don't even think about the reason for the person, but I think about the reason for the wellness professional posting. I think about the reason that I have seen this right now. Why am I seeing these technology jobs popping up everywhere on my device, right? Why am I seeing trading? It's time to trade now.
Right.
Why am I seeing all these grant things, right? Why am I seeing all these student loan things, right? Like eliminating debt. Get a G Wagon now in 90 days.
Stop.
In 90 days.
So wait, you're saying, yo, you're saying, hey, it's not even about me having discernment or how who am I seeing suddenly give me an information. It's about now you're checking in with yourself about why you're receiving the information.
Correct.
That's an interesting way to view it.
Absolutely. Because like it's so interesting because I put out those topics. Maybe other people are experiencing it, maybe not. But that's my algorithm. Those are things that I have thought, I have put into the technology world when it comes to how I'm living my life, right? And those have come back to me in some type of form. So when it does come to discernment, though, about the specific being, like, should you like just do the research on your body. Does it feel right? Because sometimes we naturally will resonate with things, and it's just like, you just resonate with smoke and mirrors and deception.
Oof.
Like that's the thing, and that has been an occurrence. That's been an occurrence. I remember seeing this post of this therapist that was talking about, oh, I married into a cult. I married into a cult.
Mm.
And I'm like, married into a cult?
Yeah.
And then I know this person, and I'm like,
Sheesh.
you are mad. You are sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have trauma that you are not trying to deal with, that everybody tells you to deal with, and you want to reject that and continue this self-care book experience. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Do you think? But I mean, isn't it? Where would you say like the balance is being able to actually have, like, for example, people can create games, right? Or not games, but people have video games where they able to be an avatar in this game experience, right? Social media gives us a platform, it gives us an expression, an outlet where you can create a whole new persona if you want,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Where in your balance, in your practice of what you do you often tell people, or do you see the benefit in telling people on how to, hey, create a new version of your life, whether other people agree with it or not, online, because you're able to be it's your new world, it's your world that you can control, you can post, you can create, and all that stuff.
We have multiple versions of ourselves. We can tap into any version of ourselves that we would like. The thing with it is that version of yourself that you are creating, is that true? Is it true to you? Is it true to the reality in the world that you live in? Right? So I don't tell people create your fantasy worlds and
Right,
to do
right,
the I don't tell people to do that. But what I do ask people to do is to focus on their truth, what makes sense and what feels right.
right.
Okay? If you are not where you're to be, right? If you have a goal and aspiration, visualize yourself there already, because that's what's already calling to you, right? That version of yourself already exists and can tell you and inform you how to get there. That's really more so what I focus on. The opposite side of that, when it comes to these realities that are created, um, I'm also thinking about the people that will come on here and utilize this platform to be able to share, but not be truthful.
Mm,
Everything that's done in the dark comes to the light. Everything that's hidden will be revealed. So I can say from outside perspective, you said this thing about marrying into a cult, and that is a lie. I can say that from an outside perspective. However, the individual is the one that's sharing and releasing. Now, in the process of sharing and releasing, there are certain aspects, I would say, from my profession, especially to the other therapists that are out here in the world that are sharing and releasing, especially the lies. Um, I would say, if you are sharing, because releasing is healing, maybe you don't see the blind spot yet.
yeah,
Releasing is healing. So
yeah.
release, but have some governance to yourself when it comes to sharing names, therapists.
Or
When it
just people in general, not even just therapists, just
Well,
people.
okay, because I
Yeah,
will
'cause
say,
you get in the therapist mode with just people in
because
general.
that's my space.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah,
space. So I'm speaking to that
yeah,
profession in general, because
yeah,
there is confidentiality and codes of ethics that are
mm,
associated with us
mm,
foundationally.
that's right.
So I will say, I'm saying that specifically to that. But at the same time, um, it is important as to how you share in this world. It
Yeah,
is important, is important to how you release. And so that's really the main thing, the main governance that I would share when it comes to people. If you have situations, you have certain things, yeah, talk about those things, release those things, get them off of your chest in that way. I
yeah,
just also feel very strongly that when you have deceived yourself, everything else around you is an illusion. And
mm.
social media will show you that. Life will show you that as well.
Boy. When you have deceived yourself, everything around you is an illusion. Let that breathe. It's a bar right there. You saying something. When you deceive yourself, everything. That's a very interesting statement. It's a very interesting thing that we end up, and that was to what I was, asking about the worlds that we create and how we go about them. Because whether it be a digital world or a physical world, at the end of the day, it's all mental, right? And it's a real thing of how you see it. Um, Deception in our life and the illusions that come with it. does but it doesn't always have to have the same kind of journey of what that deception looks like and what it feels like to be awakened to it. It can
Right.
have many different faces. What's some of those faces that you could see, not just like the real situations, but is it always pain? Is it always, can it be joy sometimes in the deception of in the illusions of our life?
Yeah, being holistic, complex beings, we can experience both paradigms. We can experience multiple paradigms of what emotion can look like, right? Um, as a Kemetic Reiki practitioner and master teacher, there we go by the laws of Mayat. Mayat focuses in on balance and governance and integrity, how to live life in different ways. It just gives you kind of guidelines as to what that can look like so you can have a light heart. One of the laws of Mayat is to not be excitable or contentious.
Mm,
Excitable or contentious. So excitable, really impulsive. It can be like you're jumping to something and having these feel good feelings, right? These feelings that feel where you feel elated, you feel
mm,
different things, but also don't be contentious, where you're also having the impulsivity to jump to the other side, contention, conflict,
mm,
right? So it's really the balancing. You can definitely experience deception. You can experience the revelation of your illusion through both areas, through both aspects, through a and you said not no example, or you mentioned like the examples, but when I think about a beautiful like sister circle,
okay.
hugging and like, wow, this is what it feels like to feel worthy. You know what I mean? So what was all this other stuff that I was dealing with?
Yeah.
So you can have different feelings in different spaces. It doesn't have to just be, hey, I see this pattern around me. I see what's reflected in my life. But this is a big thing, though. That's why a lot of people come and see me when it comes to pain points and holistic addressing of them. I see these pain points around me and I don't know what to do. I don't know where it's coming from, right? That's where we can unlayer some stuff. But typically in this society, yeah, it's easier to see pain than it is to see, prosperity.
Wow. Easier to see in paint. But you dropping some stuff now. Let me get my notebook. Let
Yeah.
me get my notebook.
That's
It's
hilarious.
easier to see pain than prosperity.
Yeah.
Where was that? I mean, where was that inspired from? That's
Mm.
just something off the dome right there? Or is
It
that like
is. Mhm.
that sounds like some wisdom inside of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're in this life. We're in this life where we're taught to compete with each other. We're taught to compare with each other, specifically within Western principles, Western society, those societal values. We're taught these different things. We're taught to survive here.
Mm,
We're not taught to go inside and to see divinity in everybody.
mm,
That's not we're taught to oh, I need to get this A so then I can do this and then I can go off and
yeah,
I need to show up and overwork myself and get underpaid so I can then prove that I'm able to do this position instead of just being provided the opportunity and having
yeah.
discipline and consistency and knowing that I have the ability to do anything.
See,
We're taught with doubt. We're taught with doubt. Like meaning that you have to show yourself worthy.
jeez.
You have to show yourself worthy. You are worthy. Going back around to the space, the throat, the chest. You don't have to prove love. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to earn or prove anything. You just are. That's your mere existence. So, just to go back around, I just feel
Yeah,
very, very very aligned with the pain versus the progress versus the prosperity conversation because that's what we're taught. And I also see on Facebook, Sister Ajay mentioned because that's definitely began to be trendy.
yeah. She was talking earlier, earlier about the
Mhm.
as far as being online and being on social media, as far as what you were talking about earlier. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, and there's pain and prosperity comparisons within that, right? Sometimes
Mm.
it's trendy to show pain.
Oh man,
And
she cooking over here. She cooking over here.
you get
She's
what
cooking
I'm
over here. Sometimes it's trendy to show pain.
saying? Listen,
Yikes. Really though?
listen. People trying to get clicks. People trying to get that TikTok money. People trying to get that Instagram money. People trying to get that YouTube money.
So
Okay.
show the pain. Show the pain. I get it. I get it. I get it.
Okay.
Is it makes you at some point wonder, is there I'm not sure, is that me, or do you hear some feedback coming in on your end from my end? Okay. Sometimes in those moments we recognize, how what our value of life is when it comes to our income. And that'd be a whole nother episode for a whole nother day to get into. But you talked about, bringing that up right there, and how, shoot, yeah, if I'm going to go through this pain, then I need a profit off of it at least.
Hmm.
I think I say that I have conversations about that with artists, especially authors. Hey, if you're gonna go through this pain, well, how about journaling it and being able to tell it in some kind of story mode that can give people insight, entertainment, laughter, a hug, whatever it may be. How can you share your story and let it be something of inspiration for others? And I guess there's really no way to judge how that sharing should look like,
Yeah.
because somebody is always pulling some kind of insight and guidance from it.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's the insight and guidance of this person is psycho, that you know, that is true. That is true insight. That is true guidance.
Yeah,
Even if it is, oh my gosh, they've shared their story. It's time for me to share mine. Inspiration,
yeah,
right? Um, yeah. So, however, anybody that chooses to release and share, there's bravery, there's courage in that space. There's bravery and courage in that space. And as you continue going, we're talking about deception and your well being of illusions, right? What is hidden? What
mm,
darkness comes from this share, if any?
shoot,
Is it really, truly liberating?
yeah,
Are you really releasing? Are you really letting go? Or
yeah.
are you just playing with the demons in your mind?
That is so real. That is so real. Very poetic. If you didn't know, Andrea, Miss Coldflow, is a poet herself. I am Poetically, but that is also, I don't know what her poet name is gonna be. Poetess
First of
Andrea.
all, I already said cold flow. Just because your name has poetically in it does not mean it needs to be
Yes, you've
poetically.
been crowned. You've been crowned officially as now all my young poet Jedi's.
Oh wow. Oh wow, my young poet Jedi. No, but I do appreciate the inspiration always because I
Yeah,
don't know
no,
myself as a poet like that until we've had our conversations. So I know you jokingly say the Jedi, because we don't compare around here. There's no levels in this space. It's not about the student surpassing the master. It's about the
48 laws of power. Don't do that.
it's about the inspiration. This game. Always.
48 laws of power. You don't do it. Don't pass the master.
Mm. At least in their lifetime.
Interesting.
This life,
Interesting.
you know.
I appreciate the insight and the different things you've been able to speak on today, as far as when it comes to mental health, dealing with social media, dealing in the social space with that. Some of the things we encounter on that. Yeah, there's something.
Yeah, I want to say something. I want to add a question actually
Okay.
for you. I was really interested in understanding when it comes to social media, how you handle when you see lies and fallacy, right?
Mhm.
When you see lies and fallacy associated specifically with with situations that you know about, right? You
Okay.
know about situations, you know about the person who's speaking, but you see lies, right? You see lies there. What is that? What do you feel? What do you do? What is your experience life when you experience those types of things, if you have?
Uh, man, I think when it comes to that, it's always it's always a different experience, right? For everybody, because they always say truth has three sides, you know. So if you know that saying, you know what that saying means, as far as this version, this person, and then the actual thing that happened.
Right, right, right.
So when you step out and understand that point of view, and you understand that there's somebody can always say what they want to say, um, you live life in understanding that at any given moment, this is a moment that can be flipped. Now, of course, we're not going through life paranoid, or we're not going through life like, dang, every single moment we go into, somebody can use this to manipulate me. It's we've had moments in our friendship where I'm like, hey, I appreciate you being like, this type of person, seeing the situation for how this is, because I've experienced people that can flip this and turn it into something else that you're like, how did you get that from this? And I really just think, if everything has a weight, so it depends on you to see what that weight of it matters to you, and far as how damaging that is on a surface level when it comes to business, how damaging it is on a level when it comes to just your personal image and the safety of those that people gonna look around you. Because I mean, there's all different weights of different things. If you're talking about a lie that's out there that's talking about people now questioning your safety, you know, then there's safety around you, then that's something you have to address. And maybe you can reach out to that person, and maybe there's obviously, if they're telling a lie on you online, then I think the relationship is obviously in a space where it's not even about reaching out to them directly at that point. I think it maybe sometimes people I know like to add that person in public and be like, hey, can you not do this? I don't think that I actually think that just adds more fuel to the fire, unfortunately, because that person knows they cannot do that. Maybe there's somebody close around them that you say, hey, it's not, you're able to say, just in a conflict resolution way of like, hey, this isn't going to benefit either one of us. Can you kind of let them know to take that down? Or depending on what the weight of it, again, depending on what the weight of it matters. For me, again, if there's a safety issue, then you got to really, yeah, you want to talk to some close people and say, hey, that's not a good look. If you have that type of rapport, if not, then you just the real reality about the situation, though, Andrea, is you have to just keep living your life in the integrity and living your life on the principles that you see best in yourself. Because you can try to talk to the world, and you can try to post something and say this isn't true, but it's best just to keep doing you and keep being the person that you were already set to be. You know, you can't try to go online and try to prove you weren't there. Like you didn't probably even wake up having that intention to go online and have to prove who you are. You woke up and just having to live your life. So I think some things aren't worth taking on as a headache. Just look at it, clear your mind from it. Block if you need a block, so that way it doesn't come up on your feed or algorithm. And if anybody else wants to question you about the situation, you can have discernment and say, hey, there that was unfactual, it's unfactual, and it's unfortunate that's what's being spreaded. But I'm not involved with that.
You know what? It kind of brings up like what you mentioned before. Like you brought this story up to me because I'm not really in the social media world too much. But like when it came to Jay-Z, like the recent like accusations of
Yeah,
him, and
yeah.
just all these different allegations, and like he didn't. There was silence. He didn't say anything in certain spaces. Is what I noticed, and what
Yeah.
I
I
also.
mean, I mean, he made one post. He made one post as soon as it came out, but then after that was, hey, we getting the lawyers.
And that's the thing. I think that the continuing the integrity of the life, right? If someone is psycho and says psycho things and does certain things, when I say if someone is psycho, meaning that we came here, you've seen something, and they have a whole different perspective of something that has happened, that where this reality is right here, right?
Yeah.
So um, when you go online to bash, to smear, to smudge, to release, to do all these different things, it is also in best practice in this space, like for the person that's experiencing this thing, like you said, you didn't wake up one day and say, hey, I have to prove myself to the world. It is in best practice for that person to continue living their lives, to continue holding the integrity that they hold.
Yeah.
Everything that's done in the dark comes to the light. That has
Mm,
nothing to do with you. Mind your business. But I'm talking to the people that the perpetratees, the people that get perpetrated against.
mm,
It is important that you continue minding your body because you have choices in this world. Your choice is to respond and feed into things that you know are not true. That builds the energy of this experience, this untruth, this unreality that's becoming a reality. Or the other option is for you to continue like noticing. I keep looking down because it's like I see it, I see those things as scum on my shoe.
okay.
So we're just
Shots.
walking, right? We're just walking. We're just walking. We're continuing on because you know you can miss out on your opportunities, your blessings, because again, we started talking off by talking about this being the land of lessons.
Yeah.
So, you have the choices, you have the discernment to make. Do not feed into things that you know are against you, that you know in your heart. Now, yourself will want to pull yourself to that, but you have the master and authority over your flesh, over your thoughts,
Yeah.
over your actions, over your words. So, operate in that faculty of that authority and allow yourself to let that fizzle out just like everything else in life
Let it
fizzled out.
fizzle out. Let it fizzle out. Let it fizzle out. Let it fizzle out. Ooh, boy, what a word today. What a word today. Before we wrap up here, I want to say thank you for everyone that's been able to listen and be able to engage. Make sure that you continue to engage as Rizz Talk in the Morning. Rizz Talk in the Morning on Rizz Radio with yours truly, Miss Andrea Cole, and myself, Poeticlee, as we come with these different topics of how we can improve ourselves and ground ourselves. One thing about improvement is it's constant sometimes pressure, and sometimes it can be a something that people feed into negatively because it's something that always needs to be improved. But I want to say, not just improve yourself, but really how to be grounded in who you are. That's what this discussion today has been about: how to be more grounded in who you are and who you're becoming, because that version of you exists here, and that version of you doesn't need to be better. It just needs to be more mindful. And I think we know better is something that can always exist, but mindful is something that takes time to feel and achieve.
Yeah, can
So,
I quick question before as we wrap up?
mm-hmm,
You, as you round out with the it's about you being grounded in yourself, not
yeah,
about proving anything to anybody.
yeah,
How do you do that? If you could give people one thing that you do, and I would love to give people one thing I do, and maybe it resonates.
sure, absolutely. Uh, One of the main ways of being able to ground in uh the becoming is, again, recognizing the truth, recognizing that truth. So part of that truth is being able to recognize what you do and how you do everything that's moving around you, right? Uh, so I have to be grounded in who I am. I don't have to improve who I am. I just grounded in understanding if I don't take care of this body, then there are going to be certain ailments. There are going to be certain injuries. There may be certain illnesses that I may encounter. That's not me having to improve myself so that I'm a better operating body. That's me being grounded in knowing the truth and knowing what exists and constantly. And at that point, once you're grounded with something, you start to build with it. When you're grounded with something, you're actually molded in. You're actually taking your time with it. So Um, yeah, like grounded, it doesn't mean stop. Grounded doesn't mean no action. It actually means a very focused and very um, intentional action, if you will. So that's one of the things that I think matters is recognizing that truth. So just sit there, recognize your truth, and let your truth speak as your empowerment. That's what I would say.
I love that. I love that, especially the definition of improvement, right? Because it's not about everybody wants to get better and get more and do,
Yeah,
and it's just like no, like you literally have everything. So I love that.
yeah.
I would say too, um, for me specifically, if I have to squint to make something make sense,
Come on now.
it does not.
Say it one more time.
If I have to squint to make something make sense, it does not. It does not make sense. And for me, what I'm subscribing to, because we all subscribe, we all sign contracts with every behavior we do, every word we share, every thought we think, we subscribe, we write our name on the dotted line to then receive whatever the impacts and results are from the thoughts, action, behaviors, right? So in my life, I don't subscribe to things that don't make sense. So if I have to squint to make something make sense, that is not supposed to be in my life. It's to be evaluated, it's to be audited.
Yeah,
So that's how I ultimately do. When I say
I
squint to
totally
make
agree.
something make
Yeah,
sense,
I totally
if
agree.
it feels off, if there's a constant pattern of this, if you find yourself overexerting, if you find yourself suppressed, if you find yourself not feeling like the ease and bliss that you are, and if you don't know what that ease and bliss is,
Come on now.
right? Squinting to make something make sense. We don't need to do that. That's what I will say. That's my big thing. And I got it from my granny, Mary Hudson.
Come
She's
on now.
the late Mary Hudson, who's always right here with me. I got
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, we can't try to squint and make sense of life. That's you hey, either you got the glasses on, you can see it, HD, or you don't. And that's the real deal. That's the real deal. Well, hey, look, we've brought the people some wellness energy for the day, for the week. I'm grateful. You have anything coming up that the people need to know about? Any courses, workshops? What's happening?
Yeah. So always Hype Natural Deodorant is here. It's ready to detox your body. Let's start off this spring season with some freshness, right? So we have that. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you're just so good, Lee. Thank you. Um, we have that. And if you haven't already, you can log on to my website at onyourpresence.com. There are some monthly free workshops that I provide to the community off of my heart. And we are finishing up and rounding out a numerology series where we went over your soul number. We calculated that. We calculated your outer personality number. And we're now in May actually going to calculate your destiny number. So you'll understand the importance of numbers, what they mean. It's not just this, oh, it's just all the way out here. No, you're going to see how it impacts your life specifically, and you'll be able to have some insight and descriptions about what it means after you've calculated your number. So it's been a phenomenal experience so far. You can also go to Honor Your Presence PLLC, type that into YouTube, and you'll actually you can look at the recordings from the previous workshops too, part 1 and part 2 of that. So the part 3, the destiny number, is coming out May 18th, Sunday, May 18th. So definitely go to honoryourpresence.com, subscribe to the weekly newsletters, and you'll be able to see all the divine things that are happening. You can also feel free to book a wellness consultation with me, a 15-minute free wellness consultation. I provide Comedic Reiki certifications as well as the instructions, yoga teacher trainings, as well as yoga instruction, sound baths, as well as a mental health therapy and wellness workshops. So there's a plethora of things to choose from, whether it be an individual, an organization, a couple. I'm here for us, y'all. So just reach out and let me know how I can support. I'd love to.
Ooh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. She has all the things going on. the products going on, the services going on, staying active. That's a really beautiful thing. And you got to check in with our numerology workshops. Those right there are really special. I think it's beautiful to see you building a community of people that are interested in said subject and interested to know who they are, and kind of building all these subgroups of people that are like, hey, I see, I'm seen, I'm feel, I'm heard, and that matters a lot in this space. So thank you so much, and we will leave you with this joy, leave you with this wisdom. Soak it up. Make sure you follow Miss Andrea Cole Flow on Instagram. That is so Cole Flow,
Honor
and
your
then
presence.
and then you have yeah. I'm gonna get to. I'm gonna give all the love there. I got you. Honor your presence on Instagram. Honor your presence on Facebook, and follow her and tap into all the things that she has to offer. This has been Rizz Talk in the morning on Rizz Radio. Tune in the evenings and hear talking music with Dom and Lee, and then late and that's hey, and shout out to DJ Calvin with the mixes on here too. So until next time, we are out of here. Peace.